850 days of carnivore. This is what I've learned. Hey, what's shaking bacon? My name is Bruno Panucci. I hope you're doing well. So I've been doing strict carnivore for 850 days, on and off for years before that, and zero carb on and off for years before that. So I explain in one of my other videos what the differences between zero carb and carnivore. But from doing carnivore strict for almost 2.5 years, I've learned a few things, and I want to pass them along to you. First and foremost is when you're starting carnivore, you have to first, more than anything, understand if you're an abstainer or moderator. If you're someone that can have a mouthful of bread every day and just be fine with it and not crave it anymore, or if you have that and all you think about is having carbohydrates or sugar, now you know which one you are. If you're an abstainer or moderator, maybe it's your glass of wine. Bread is just an example. Maybe it's a beer. Maybe it's something, whatever it is, that has carbs or sugar in it that you can't go without very easily. That'll let you know. And once you know which one you are, you might try and negotiate and try and manage that every now and then, and you're welcome to try that. But I went down that road and I learned the hard way. It took me a long time to negotiate with myself because I was trying to convince myself I could do it. And the reality is I couldn't be a moderator. I tried for a long time. I'm an abstainer. I have to stay away from it because if I have any of it, I will go right off the wagon with it, and I would easily balloon up to 500 pounds. And that's not an exaggeration. I was at 465 pounds at one point. Second, I would say when you start the carnivore diet, just eat meat. Try and eat fatty meat. Don't restrict yourself to lean meats like turkey or bacon. You got to make sure you have fatty meat on a carnivore diet and eat as often as you want. Don't get hungry. That's the one thing you don't want to do, especially in the first few months when you're trying to cut out carbohydrates and sugar. Don't let yourself get hungry. Stay fully satiated on the foods you can eat. Next is you want to try and find a group of people that you can relate to. So maybe a Facebook group might be something that you need. There's lots of different Facebook groups out there that talk about how to do a carnivore diet, and there's lots of different levels of carnivore that you might need to do. Go out on those Facebook groups and try and get support. You need support when you do something like this. It's a difficult thing at first when you're breaking up with carbohydrates because it's an addiction for some people. Actually, I think it's an addiction for most people, but you want to try and get to the point where you find people that are like-minded. And if you have questions, they're more than willing to help. All you have to do is go in one of the Facebook group forums or even a YouTube video and just mention the problem you're having. Just reach out to people. Most people are going to try and help. Some people are kind of socially awkward when it comes to online comments. They just want to be rude and mean right from the beginning. They want to be more quippy, then they want to be helpful, or they want to try and marry both together. And it can be discouraging if you're just trying to start. So just keep in mind, you want to try and find a group that appeals to you. There's a lot of different Facebook groups out there, and you want to try and find a Facebook group that appeals to your personality. The next thing you can do is find an influencer that you can relate to. There's lots of influencers out there as well. If you're coming from a vegetarian or vegan background, steak and butter gal might be the way for you to go. If you want to rely more on like hard science and you want to have a medical opinion all the way through this, well then Dr. Berry, Dr. Sean Baker, or Dr. Chaffee might be the doctors for you to follow. If you have a history of heart disease, there's other carnivore doctors out there that you might want to follow. It doesn't take much work to do a search to find out who these people are. If you want to find someone that you can just relate to because you need to lose a lot of weight and these other people have lost a lot of weight, then you know who you can go to. I'm someone that lost a lot of weight and I still have a ways to go. So I'm in the process. I'm in the middle of my carnivore journey. And some people find that relatable. Next is their personality. You just want to find someone that you think you can click with. You understand their point of view. You like the way they explain things. Sometimes the message isn't enough. You have to have someone explain it to you or talk with you in a language or a way of speaking that you feel comfortable with. Another is there's lots of ways to do carnivore out there. There's ketovore, there's carnivore, there's lion diet. There's a wide variety of ways out there. And the one thing you want to make sure to do is understand which ones fall under the carnivore umbrella. For example, Dr. Paul Saladino isn't a carnivore. He has hypercarnivore in the title of his videos. He designates himself as a hypercarnivore, but that is not a carnivore diet. A carnivore diet is a meat-only diet. Its goal is to be zero carb. You don't want to have anything. And he recommends honey and vegetables on the diet. He wants to call it a hypercarnivore diet. I think he's sort of selling out on the name so that he can keep an audience. It's confusing some people, but I think most people eventually come around when they have to learn to up their game a little bit. But maybe that's something that you're satisfied doing. But just understand, without judgment, it's not carnivore. If you want to try carnivore, you want to try and stick to anything under the carnivore umbrella. Next is don't try and do it on your own. I already talked about finding a Facebook group and maybe some online presence that you can relate to with different influencers. But if you need to go to the next level, there's lots of coaching groups out there. I highly recommend Kelly Hogan's coaching group. I've been in it for over a year and a half now, and there's lots of returning members. The reason why there's lots of returning members is it works. Next is don't confuse people trying to seek nutrition with people who are trying to heal their body. Sometimes they go hand in hand. So if someone's going on a carnivore diet and they're doing it to heal their body, that's good, right? They're trying to eat in a way that is a nutritionally dense meal every time they eat. But sometimes it only gets people so far, and they have to sort of troubleshoot and they have to try different things. So when people are trying different things, don't look down your nose at it. You don't want to look and think, oh, this is the latest trend. Everyone's just jumping on the bandwagon, and you have to look down at it, because that's often coming from a place that you haven't had to explore. That's coming from a place where people are trying to do that who maybe are having difficulty and maybe hitting plateaus, and they've tried lots of different things and maybe they're just not working. So if you're looking at someone doing, say, a sardine fast or high fat or maybe lean carnivore or high fat days and then low fat days, some people are just interested in seeing if they perform better, and other people are doing it because they've hit plateaus and weight loss stalls, or they haven't overcome their health problems and they're trying to reboot their system. They're trying to understand what works and what doesn't, what can have an impact one way or the other. You don't want to start looking down on people because they're doing something that you consider is beneath you or beneath anyone else, because you might look at it from one particular angle. Doesn't mean someone else needs that exact angle to work for them. Some people are just trying to get that last 10 pounds, and no matter what they're doing, it's not working. So they're looking and they're trying different things, and what has worked in the past hasn't gotten them all the way. Everyone is going towards the same end goal in this race. Everyone is racing from their own starting point, and they're trying to get to a finish line when it comes to their health. Usually it's their health, whether it's weight loss or other health related issues, it's typically health. So you want to try and keep in mind other people are sprinters, other people are long distance runners, other people need to stop and walk for a while, other people need to just do a slow jog. Some people can only walk. Some people start and get too exhausted and have to stop. That just shows how many people are, I don't want to say desperate, but searching to try and find what works best for them. They're giving it a fair shot and they're doing everything they can, and they're finally getting to the point where they have to try something new because they've been at a stall with maybe their weight or some health problem. Then there's no reason to look down on something like that. There's a reason why people do this, because some people get results with this. This advice often comes from medical professionals who have been dealing with these weight loss stalls or health problems for a long window of time, and they're saying, you know what, this might be something you need to try if you're still struggling with this. All in all, what I want you to remember is carnivore is supposed to be simple. It's supposed to be easy. You eat when you're hungry, you eat till you're satiated, and repeat. Just get to the end of the one day. Once you get to the end of that day, just repeat it. And eventually you're going to have months under your belt and then years under your belt. And you're going to be an example for other people that you'll be able to help that are in your position where you are now, and they're kind of at their wits' end and they don't know what to do. Don't forget to pay it forward. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you watching the video.